Hi. Okay, right off the bat, because I want to get this over with quick because I'm really tired. But right off the bat, one of the strongest connections I think is like the crime control model and the due process model in this episode. The prosecutors and detectives are constantly really focused on like efficiency, public safety, and securing convictions, like the classic crime control model priorities. Brian talks a lot about how he needs to move the cases quickly and protect the public from the potential danger offenders. And I just think that's like so interesting. I think there was a line that went along the lines of something like how plea bargaining isn't a part of the criminal justice system, it is the criminal justice system. And it really goes to show that they just really want these things to go fast. And I'm like, you know what? Sure. Like, it's the right to a speedy trial. There's controversy on that, I'm sure, but it's that. I was really shocked to find that this episode was still talking about Devon Holmes, TBH. But then the episode also went into how due process becomes secondary in this kind of situation, because Devon was facing a 13-count indictment and the possibility of extreme punishment before prosecutors later discovered evidence suggesting that he may have not been involved. And mind you, he was held like guilty in jail for like a month. No, not a month, a year. It was a whole entire year that people thought he was guilty. So even like at that point, there are just so many situations where even innocent defendants will plead guilty because the trial penalty is so severe. Because nobody wants to go through that trial, like, ever. And I think that really goes to show that our system is designed more around risk management and efficiency than actually caring, like actually carefully testing guilt beyond a reasonable doubt for our defendants. What else did I think of this episode? This episode also connects directly a lot to the role of grand juries. And in the theory of it, grand juries are supposed to serve as a constitutional check on like the state's power by like evaluating whether or not probable cause exists in the case. But everyone who was like being interviewed, like the defense attorneys, all described it as like a quick one-sided proceeding where indictments are often secured in minutes. And I was like, really? Because I feel like that's not talked about a lot, where grand juries are like just snap and done. Like usually it goes in a little more. But I thought that was really interesting to come to find that grand juries are usually just quick, one-sided kind of thing. I feel like it's a really important role. They're very important. Like, it's an important role in the court system. I just don't know why it's so rush, So, I like how this episode highlights all the parts of the criminal justice system working together structurally, like how the police gather evidence and witnesses, the prosecutor decides the charges and negotiates pleas, all the court process, how the court processes enormous caseloads through pretrials and plea arguments. I just like how it really showed like all of the courts, like the systems working together. I'm sorry, I sound crazy. I'm like really tired. It's really late. This is not my best work in describing this podcast episode. Wow. If I were working in this system, I think one major reform I would push for would be stricter limits on overcharging and mandatory enhancements and distort plea negotiations. I just feel like overcharging, especially like that, becomes such a big issue in our criminal justice system, where they're just pushing stuff to push stuff. Like, bro is already getting a heavy sentence. He does not need to be adding these random little tiny tidbits into the case. Anyways, that's all I really have to say. I'm really tired. This is probably the worst discussion post I've ever posted. I'm so sorry. But, yeah. Love you guys. Bye.